Ini Good evening everyone, welcome to night number 2 of the qualifying for Daytona 500. Just apologies for the lack of audio a bit earlier, just a couple of teething issues and a lot of noise going on around me, so decided to just mute things for a little bit, get things sorted. But halfway through qualifying at this stage, and we've got Spud P666 completing his first lap with 43.352, and I'm not sure if he's quite with me at the moment, but we've got Brian East in the commentary box with us for tonight's action, going to lend a hand calling all the action for me. So Brian, are you there with me?
Yeah, I'm here, gentlemen. Good evening everyone at home. Hope you're enjoying the show so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a good night of racing, hopefully. Hopefully a lot of these drivers have learnt some lessons from last night's action and maybe can put some theories into practice and get some good green flag running tonight.
Yeah, the last night the safety car had to go in for its oil change. Spend that much time on the track, it needed a service afterwards.
Yeah, of course, Spud getting plenty of laps in the safety car last night and putting in a 43.340 in qualifying just then. I think that's going to put him somewhere in the top 3 at this stage. I think he's just in 3rd place. So yeah, at the moment we've got Slapper's mate and with the fastest time so far of 43.274. Speedy Tyres, who set the early pace in this championship, he's second with a 43.293. And then we've got Spud sitting in 3rd place with a 43.340. But now out on the track we've got the winner of our last race in the Trackstars Touring Car Series. Last time out at Monza it was Duram 50 who took the win. So he'll be leading I think this will be our final group of qualifiers out onto the track as he gets ready to start his lap. And then his CP Motorsports teammate is joining with an additional entry, Captain Muffin 88. He heads across the line to start his qualifying laps. And then from the WRT Motorsports team, we've got Nightwalker 964, who also does have an association with CP Motorsports, running a few races with them last season, played on in the championship. So first lap time for Duram 50 was a 43.316. So I'll jump him into 3rd place, although Captain Muffin's just gone faster as well with 43.307, so that'll bump him into 3rd. Duram's second time slightly quicker with 43.311. But still only 4th position for Duram. Captain Muffin goes slower on his second lap. Let's see what Nightwalker can do as the last car to cross the line. He manages to go slower than his first lap time, which is a 43.725. So that should conclude all of our qualifiers for tonight. Unfortunately, 2 less cars than last night, so only 12 cars taking part in this. Of course, these 12 cars competing for the top 7 spots tonight. That should lock them into the field for Sunday night's Daytona 500.
One thing I noticed with the last run of qualifying there, Jarman, was both the CP boys were hugging the yellow line, and Nightwalker wasn't. That's the difference in the times between them.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. It's a long way around this track, so any sort of measures you can take to reduce the distance you've got driving around here will certainly help out on those lap times, that's for sure. As it looks like we're all complete here with qualifying. It's the number 117 entry from the WTCC camp of Slapper's Mate that sets the fastest time here and will lead the field away. And joining him on the front row in tonight's 50 lap race will be Speedy Tyres, our early championship leader in the Trackstars Touring Car Series, so he's off to a good start to lock himself inside that top 7, hopefully, with a nice clean run.
Speedy does have that benefit of being in the top 4 in the championship, so he automatically gets a start in the top split, but he'll want to finish as well as he can to put himself higher up the grid for the 500.
Yeah, that's certainly a good point there. I know disappointed last night. He was another driver that was locked in, but he also made sure he took the win last night and secured himself a really good starting spot on Sunday. Probably the best one you can possibly get.
And that is one thing about this type of oval racing where the draft is so important, is finding someone that you work really, really well with. DJ's been able to find that with Woodsy. They work together really well. They were at the back of the field very late in the race in the Blue Moon Bay 500 last year, and they finished at the front. And as you saw last night, they did exactly the same thing. They worked together to move themselves to the front of the field.
Yeah, Diswood and DJ are really good together in that draft situation. They've really got it figured out. They sort of know what they can and can't get away with and have a lot of trust in each other as well, which is really important in something like this. qualification lap. Robbo Sport and the Nissan GTR safety car leading the field around. We'll just quickly run through the starting lineup with you. Slappers Mate 117 starting from pole position. Speedy Tyres from position 2. Captain Muffin 88 starting from 3rd. 4th will be Duram 50. So the 2 CP Motorsports cars sharing the second row. Then we'll have N-Spud P666 starting from 5th. Here's Smash Spud's racing teammate Budsy 76 from 6th position. Then we have Ridwan F1, Griffo Tony 62, Broccolilly DRE Calypso, Nightwalker 964, and then AMS Mikhail rounding out your field. As Robbo speeds up and heads towards pit lane. And we'll get ready for a start here in the second qualifying race for the Daytona 500. And we're underway here with Slapper's Mate leading the field off in this one. Captain Muffin jumping in the second spot. Speedy Tyres slotting into 3rd after a bit of a slower start.
Unfortunately, we didn't even make it one lap before the carnage started. Ridwan F1 into the pits in the Satellite Racing Nissan for a new set of tyres. He'll get the repairs done and he'll rejoin the racetrack. I think it was Broccolilly.
Yeah, I believe Broccolilly was involved. And Robbo Sport somehow been the safety car. I probably shouldn't laugh too much at that, but that's a bit unfortunate for him. And we've all but caught that on the stream.
He must put the Venti tune on the safety car.
Yeah, you could be right there with that one. I think Broccolilly was involved with that. I think Griffo Tony was also a part of that. He's got a bit of damage. I think he's might have kept going though. Thankfully the engine damage to Robbo's car hasn't affected his ability to reach the minimum speed for the safety car, so it looks like he'll be pushing on here at this stage. Looks like a few drivers have made the strategy call to come in and go for a full tank of fuel. Judging by last night's performances, I think that'll probably get everyone to the end of the race if they top up now and maybe do a bit of fuel saving under the safety cars.
You would definitely be making the most of the cruising under the safety car at the 160 kilometres an hour by switching it to map 6 on the MFD to use as little fuel as possible.
Yeah, I'd certainly be going down that path, of course. maybe running in a higher gear under safety car as well, using slightly less throttle to get your speed. All plenty of options, and I think with the amount of safety car laps we'd be expecting, I think you'd probably be safe to get to the end of the race from this point if you top up.
You'll say something like that, then the boys will decide they want to behave themselves, and it will go the rest of the race called green.
Yeah, that will definitely throw a spanner amongst the works in this one. We could only hope that they can keep things clean the rest of the way. It would certainly be much quicker for us, probably much more interesting as well, rather than rolling around for 28 laps under safety car conditions. I was about to say that I'd expect safety car to be in this lap, but Robbo's posted a message. Safety car will be in this lap. So he'll be bringing the Nissan GTR back to the pits. And it'll be Slapper's mate that leads the field around to the green flag again.
A little bit ironic, Jarman, that we always talk about RSR and engine damage in these touring car events, and we put the boss man in the safety car and it's got engine damage.
Yeah, I think Nissan will be chasing him up for a payment on all the engines very shortly as we get back underway here. Like a nice little gap there from Slapper's mate over Captain Muffin, but of course that draft coming back into play very quickly. Sort of forming a couple of 2x2 formations here as Captain Muffin decides he's going to have a run at taking the lead here early on. Nice little group there forming between Spud, Nightwalker, Duran. Group of about 5 or 6 cars there. And amazingly, we have got one green flag of racing, and so it only took about 8 laps this time around. I think it took 20 last night to get one green flag lap completed.
Draft train all working the bottom side of the racetrack up against that yellow line, and Slapper's mate, who's got no help up top, and he's just being freight trained right now. He's gone from the lead back to now position number 6.
Yeah, had virtually zero help there from any of the friends. Everyone's sticking to the bottom, and yeah, he's dropped all the way back down to 6th position. I think he's now finally got himself back down to the lower part of the track inside the draft, so hopefully these guys will work together a bit. It's a nice little pack of 6 forming here for the lead battle, and it looks like a bit further back there's a nice little group going on as well, about 5-6 cars, and then working together quite nicely.
80 Tyres has managed to hook onto the tail of Rocco Lilly and pushing Rocco along as they run him 7th and 8th right now. Speedy's got his teammate Ridwan F1 right in behind him as well. So the 2 satellite cars running 8th and 9th right now.
Yeah, just slowly watching that gap. It's sort of bouncing around from that 4.3, 4.4 seconds. I think Speedy would be looking to try and get a bit more of a group going here. Maybe try and get a bit of a push going and really reduce that gap down to the lead pack that we've got going on as well. And maybe get themselves involved in this battle.
Speedy tyres is a bet. Broccolilli's now got his teammate DRE Calypso in behind him, and the two satellite cars are on the top side of the racetrack. So we've got teammates working together here. Just as I say that, Ridwan goes back down to the bottom and latches onto the back of Calypso.
Yeah, I think Ridwan worked out that might have been a bit of a losing battle there, running up the top with his teammate. Might just be better served to just work together as a group of four and try and get themselves back in touch with the top six.
Well, Speedy Tyres has managed to find himself between the two ISA cars as Calypso was just about rubbing against the safer barrier, and he'll drop in behind Ridwan F1. So we've returned to the status quo of 2 laps ago in this 4-car group.
Yeah, it seems like they've done a little bit of experimenting in the last couple of laps and maybe worked out what works best for them. Although, as I say that, I'm assuming that the satellite boys have returned to what they would describe as Plan A and gotten back together in the draft and tried to push along, although I don't think it's worked out again, as it's allowed Broccolilli and Calypso to link up, although Calypso making it 3 wide here. That's going to be a bit messy. I don't think it's worked out too well. Yes, Ridwan's picked up some damage. I don't think it's going to be enough to cause a safety car though, so we'll continue racing here, and it's proven unfortunate for Ridwan as he's diving to the pits immediately. As we head back to the front, it's Budsy 76 leading the way now. He's got Captain Muffin back in tow, pushing behind him, and it's Ed and Spud P666. This group of 6 at the front, all working nicely together. Really got themselves going into a good rhythm in this race.
And Spud P666 jumping straight onto the back of Budsy's teammate and pushes the Mash Spud racing cars to 1st and 2nd right now. But these guys are doing an absolute ripper job. They understand this is a 200-kilometre race. It's 125 miles around the world's centre of racing. It is a long way. You don't win the race on lap 1, you win it at the end of the 50th racing lap.
Yeah, as you mentioned that, of course, I think Spud sort of played that game really well. He just decided to pick his moment, and now that all the chaos is broken loose, I think it was trying to remember the name. I think
Commentator's curse.
Yeah, there was a commentator's curse in there, but I think I can't even remember who I'm talking about here. I know Griffo was involved in that. I think it's Captain Muffin and Spud sort of got together a bit, and so that's brought out the caution there. everyone's going to jump into the pits on this one. Surprisingly, no engine damage out of that, but obviously the spin causing some issues there. And there's Robbo out on the track with the safety car called. So Budsy holding strong, out in the lead of this race. AMS Mikhail sitting in second place. He's a TS2 runner, took part in the first round with us. I think he scored a couple of top 10 results in the TS2 action before missing the second round at Monza. But he's sitting nicely there inside that top 7, so good run for him. Could look to qualify him into the main race on Sunday.
It's a fantastic job from Mikhail because he actually started last.
Yeah, of course I think he had some tuning issues. I think he forgot to put the high RPM turbo on the car, so that really cost him in the qualifying, and I think he had another shot at it and still didn't quite have enough pace, but he's certainly working well in this draft and using it to his advantage in the race.
Couple of drivers serving the in-game penalties while under the safety car, which is quite handy.
Yeah, it works out well for them, I think. I think Slapper's mate might have got that penalty trying to avoid the crash, so good thing that wipes itself out and we can carry on racing. So at this stage, Speedy Tyres is inside that top 7. And his satellite racing teammate Ridwan, who's going to have to qualify himself through race results.
Budsy's given up the lead.
Yeah, Budsy's head to pit lane. I think he's earned some rear aero damage from all the pushes he's received at the front of the field. I don't believe he has pitted at the start, so pit stop here, probably refuel him enough to get to the end of the race. I believe Griffo Tony has reclaimed a lap at some point, but I think he's still one lap behind at least. Budsy's back on the tail. That leaves Mikhail in the lead of this race at the moment, so good effort for him, avoiding some of the carnage so far, but still a long way to go in this race.
It's a good testament as well, these guys running this race that come from the TS2 series. It actually shows the quality of the drivers that we do have in our second tier series.
Yeah, there certainly is quite a few drivers that have come up from the TS2 ranks for this one, and some of them putting in some very high quality performances, and there's probably a few guys that you might see in a few weeks' time as we head into the enduro races, earning themselves some co-drives, and I'm sure they'll show some strong speed in amongst the main series competitors and make themselves competitive and do a solid job for their main drivers. Now I believe the safety car is coming in this lap by the looks of things. As Robbo Sports raced off into the distance and left the rest of the field to organise themselves before we go back racing. So Miko will lead the field to the green flag for what will be our second restart. As we'll drop into 20 laps completed, 30 laps to go in this race. And we're back underway here at Daytona. Interesting to see whether Miko can handle that aero damage being out in front. Might be a bit of a sitting duck here.
Getting up close and personal with the safer barrier isn't going to help his cause, wanting to stay out front.
Certainly running more of a high line, bit of contact there between the two in the tri-oval. I don't think that was really what they wanted. Very risky place to try and start bump drafting, especially that first initial contact can really unsettle the car a lot. As Broccoli looks to make a run towards the lead of this race. And Slapper's mate dropping down inside, and we've got another safety car called. Looks like N-Spud was involved in that one.
Captain Muffin into the pits as well to repair more damage on the CP Motorsports Honda. Yeah, just going back to the bump drafting on the tri-oval, it is definitely not something I recommend at all. The last time I was bump drafted on a tri-oval on a super speedway, I ended up on the lid.
I'm going to guess that was probably an iRacing event that happened in.
Yeah, iRacing at Talladega.
Yeah, I've had a few good races on iRacing using Talladega and Daytona. Usually it stays calm for about the first 90% of a race, and then the last 2 laps it just breaks out into chaos. As Robbo Sports call for the safety car to return to pit lane. Not sure what's happened there, is he? He's had a bit of a moment there in the safety car. He somehow ended up on the infield runoff with a lot of damage. Maybe he wasn't expecting the game to unpause at that point. It'll be Broccoli that leads the field to the green this time around. AMS Mikhail sitting in second place. Slapper's mate in third, and then we've got Speedy Tyres and Ridwan in fourth and fifth. And then our last 2 cars in the top 7 are Mike Walker and DRE Calypso, but of course Duran 50 sitting in 8th is I believe he's an automatic lock due to his top 4 position in the championship.
Just about at the start-finish line, Broccoli restarted the race there after the safety car goes back to the pits to repair more engine.
Yeah, the first 2 cars really taken off ahead of the rest of the field at this point. I imagine that they'd be reeled in quite quickly though with this draft.
past the halfway mark in this one, 25 laps to go. Slapper's mate once again trying to work higher up on the racetrack. Doesn't have any help, and the two satellite boys who are glued together at this stage are moving into third and fourth.
Yes, a good run there from the two satellite boys, and I think they've got this game really sorted out well. Maybe a bit reminiscent of what Diswood and Disappointed put together last night, but the two satellite boys certainly showing their cards early on in this one, well, especially compared to the two Honda boys from last night. Looks like we've got a good little pack forming between the entire field at this point. Oh, a bit of contact there with Speedy. That's really dropped him down the order. He's got a lot of damage at the moment.
He got a bump from his teammate very close to the entrance to turn 3 there, and went into the top side of that racetrack with a lot of extra speed that he wouldn't have been expecting.
Yeah, it certainly looked to get him really unsettled coming into that corner, and it's just shot him up into the fence, so not an ideal outcome for Speedy, but of course he does have that top 4 position to fall back on late in this race, and we've got N-Spud now in the lead of this race. He's sort of come from nowhere in amongst all that and jumped into the lead.
He's made the most of that opportunity. He's got Rockalili, who's also in a Lexus RCF. So we've got the brands working together a little bit here as well as just teammates, as Spud goes high and it's left on his own. He comes back down towards the bottom. Not too sure about that, but it could be just what we're seeing from the game itself that plays a little tricks for us.
Yeah, could either be lag, or maybe Spud's going for the Kyle Busch strategy of making his car 3 cars wide.
This time Rockalili's the one that's gone to the high side, and not sure that's going to work for him. As Captain Muffin, who's was involved with that incident with N-Spud P666 for the last safety car, just as it gets called once again. Unfortunately for AMS McHale, he's got a lot of engine damage, and is that Robbo in the fence again?
Yes, it is. He's approached the back of the listen of AMS McHale, and I don't know whether he was caught unawares and just taking evasive action. That was a rather strange incident. And then we've got Griffo Tony. I'm not sure if he was involved at all in that one. I know Duram dived to the pit, so maybe Duram was just getting a quick top up of fuel to make sure he can get to the end of this race. But back under safety car conditions again. I think this is the 4th safety car period of the race. I think we were about at 5 or 6 this time last night.
As several cars bring their way to the pits to put themselves in a position for a late charge for the last 20 laps.
We've got Calypso, Nightwalker and Slappers mate all heading to pit lane. Slappers, of course, well, I think all 3 cars have a bit of damage, so maybe just getting some repairs done, making sure that car's at peak performance for the rest of this race. And Mikhail finally finds his way into pit lane. So it looks like, yep, Mikko has just got himself back out on the track, so he'll avoid going a lap down late on in this one. And that looks like Budsy heading off into pit lane. He's just topping up fuel, making sure he can get to the end of this race. Looks like we might have a couple more laps on the safety car here. Certainly no call from Robbo at this stage to bring it in this time around. Nope, now he's called it in, so he's made a liar out of me. So we get ready to go back racing. Inside 20 laps remaining in this race. It's N-Spud P666, our 2020 Track Stars Touring Car Series champion. He'll lead the field to the green flag for this fourth restart. With Captain Muffin, Broccolilly, Ridwan and Jaram all in tow. So it's back to racing again. Start of what is theoretically lap 33, discounting our formation lap. Captain Muffin getting a good run. Decided to think better of going to the outside and just started to push along with Ben Spud.
He would do well just to sit in and hang on for the ride, because they're very much in qualifying positions for the main 500 split, and there's no reward for going out and leading a lap, so his best bet would be just to sit in behind N-Spud, let N-Spud punch a big hole in the air and just get comfy.
Yeah, I certainly would be taking that strategy. I'd say that nearly everyone in the top six that is gapped seventh place at the moment, I'd be taking that approach of just sort of settling in, just accepting whatever position you have, don't force any issues too much, and just try and lock yourself in rather than trying to go for glory, because it's going to be a long 200 laps on Sunday, and I think it won't really matter whether you start 1st or 14th. You're going to have just as much chance of winning it as everyone else.
One thing I've noticed in this front group is the two satellite racing cars nose to tail once again.
Yes, they've brought themselves close to each other. I'm not sure of the strategy of going up high. Sort of, don't know if it's quite worked out. I think they did get themselves past Broccolilly. They are now trying to push towards this lead of the race, so even though we've both discussed maybe the ideal strategy to get themselves in the race, it seems like the satellite boys are going for broke here.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like for the satellite boys, they don't just want two cars in the show, they want two cars in the front two rows.
It certainly would look like a great place to start. Although that being said, maybe they were just trying to get themselves a bit of breathing room a couple of spots further up. If 2 or 3 cars jump up the order late on in the race and find some speed, then they've bought themselves a bit of safety. So we look a little further back. It's still Broccoli and Duran. Duran's still only a second off the lead, so he's still very much in touch with this lead pack. Looks like he's just riding around comfortably. Got a little bit of damage, so maybe just sitting back a little bit.
There's those Cadillac cars going to the top again.
As I believe Ridwan took the lead in that lap, so Ridwan and Spud, Speedy Tyres, Captain Muffin all fighting it out. They're 2 by 2 at this stage.
It's looking a bit like those Daytona 500s during the Car of Tomorrow era where they were tandem drafting.
Yeah, just after that track resurface that they had, it really produced those ideas. Just have a bit of a look. I know, yeah, Griffo Tony's into the pit lane. He's got heavy engine damage there.
He was sitting in the 7th spot a couple of laps ago, so the possibility might have been stoved up for what we would say in the dirt racing world a transfer spot.
Yeah, he might have been sitting in a good spot and just jumped in, so looks like Broccolilli needed to take a pit stop here.
Broccolilli with just about no fuel. So,
yeah, not sure if he judged that too well, to be honest. Budsy's in for a pit stop as well. So it looks like Griffo went a lap down, so he's going to try and unlap himself here. I'm assuming with the permission of the race officials working in the party chat with the rest of the drivers. So yep, he reclaims his lap back. As Calypso heads to the pit lane. So at this stage we've got N-Spud, Ridwan, Speedy Tyres, Captain Muffin, Slapper's Mate, AMS Mikhail, and Duram 50 is our 7 cars in the field. So only 15 laps from the safety car tonight. I think we can officially say that they've done more green flag running. I think we're inside 10 laps ago. So Robo Sport isn't going to complete as many laps in the safety car as Spud did last night. That's going to be assured. Let's hope they can get a few laps in and at least reach that 5 lap to go mark, where we won't have any more safety cars and we can go green to the rest of this race.
The reason we go green for the last 5 laps guaranteed is to ensure a green finish. Because the last thing anyone wants to see is the race finish behind the safety car.
Yeah, and at least it gives a good amount of green flag running at the end as well, that sort of have 5 laps for everyone to sort themselves out. Sometimes it doesn't work out in your favour, as myself and Lurox evidence last year in the Blue Moon Bay 500. We both got into the wall and took some damage, and it cost us a good run at a result at the end. But at the end of the day, we don't really want to finish under safety car conditions, and it certainly doesn't look good cruising to the end, cruising towards the finish line, as Robbo has another bit of an excursion there after announcing that he'll be coming in this lap. He's certainly finding an alternative way of racking up the miles in that safety car.
It's got to be when he unpauses the game from writing the message that He's going awry with the safety car on that backstretch there.
Yeah, I think something must be happening. I think he runs with a wheel, so not sure if it's sort of messing with the steering wheel or something. The Zen Spud brings him back around. I believe it'll be 8 laps to go, if my math's correct.
That is correct.
So Spud gets us back underway here. Qualifying race number 2 for the Daytona 500. And it'll be the Satellite Racing boys of Ridwan and Speedy Tyres in hot pursuit of that number 1 spot. Looks like there was a driver down below. I think it might have been Mikhail. As Nightwalker makes a run for that 6th spot, buy himself a bit of extra security. As Duram 50 and Broccoli all charging towards that 7th spot. Duram jumps to the inside, gets a bit of a run, but here comes Budsy. He's coming through. Tries to make his own play towards taking a top 7 finish.
Both Duram and Broccoli are, in fact, regular drivers in the Trackstars Touring Car Series, and they're currently outside the qualification.
Yeah, for Broccoli, it's going to be vital that he gets himself at least to 6. For Duram, he could probably get away with running around at the back, sitting 3rd in the standings. He's assured of a spot in this race, regardless of his finishing position. So he could probably ride around, take a 10th place finish, and be comfortable knowing that he'll be in the race. But Broccoli, he'll have to get a bit of a move on here. As we're on lap 45 of this race, so once the field gets to the start-finish line, there'll be no more safety cars from this point, as Broccoli just slips underneath Griffo Tony. Jumps in 8th place. Nightwalker just a bit all over the place there, coming out the corner. Not sure if that's lag induced. As field comes across the line. So no more safety cars from this point on. As Griffo gets a bit out of control there, I think that was still a bit lag induced as well.
Front group are very much broken away. All the action at the moment is right here for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th on back. Yeah, so at the moment with Duram getting an automatic qualification, 6th spot is where you're going to need to be.
Yeah, these cars all amongst this group certainly jockeying for position here. Budsy really going to have to look for a way around. He's just shot himself into the infield there a little bit, and I believe that's Speedy Tyres, so Speedy's dropped back as well. At this stage though, with Speedy and Duram both dropping out of the top 7, as it really gets heated there, and that sees Nightwalker spat out. He's in the defence. That's going to be his night done. And any aspirations of qualifying for Sunday night's main race, all put paid. Let's have a look. So Duram's jumped up into 7th place. So that'll be interesting to see as he gets a bit of a push on. That's probably going to mean that if Speedy Tyres doesn't qualify, it'll bump John 27 from last night's race out of top split. As we now have in 3 laps go, and that's contact between Budsy and Mikhail. So now that puts Speedy Tyres up in the 7th place.
DRE Calypso into 6th for ISO as well.
Yeah, so
Calypso running a very quiet race, and he's in with a shot.
Yeah, so looking at this, I think, yeah, Mikhail's got a bit of damage. It's going to be hard for him to come back from that, so he's kept the car running. He's probably going to have to hope for an incident late on in this one. But I think the top 7 are going to be pretty much settled now as we head on to the final lap of this one. And Spud P666 leading the way. And then we've got Grid1, Captain Muffin and Slapper's Mate completing your top 4 cars in this battle pack for the race win here. Grid1 just continuing to push and Spud. Will someone look to make a move here towards the finish line? Or are they just going to hold station? As we head to the finish, I don't think anyone's going to have enough for N-Spud, but it looks like Red1's going to try and make a run. And it's going to be N-Spud that takes the win in this second qualifying race. Red1 F1 taking second, Captain Muffin in third, Duram 50 crossing the line in 4th place. DRE Calypso taking 5th. Slapper's Mate, he must have ran out of fuel just before the finish line. Because that
fuel gauge is reading 0.
Yeah, that fuel gauge is completely empty, so he's just limped to the line in 6th place. Speedy Tyres locks himself in as well, so none of the top 4 competitors will be taking provisionals into the race, so our top 7 in each race locking in. AMS Mikhail, he'll be starting on the front row of the split 2 on Sunday afternoon. And also Budsy 76, Nightwalker 964, Griffo Tony and Broccolilly all missing out on moving into Sunday night's race. They'll all battle it out in the second split on Sunday afternoon though. But of course, N-Spud P666 earning himself a front row start on the Sunday night's Daytona 500. Brilliant effort there by Spud, and certainly a result he's looking for. And he'll be looking to make amends after leading the closing stages of last year's Blue Moon Bay 500 before being overtaken by the fast finishing duo of Disappointed and Diswood on that final lap. So there you have it, 100 laps of qualifying racing for the Daytona 500 all complete. And we'll now have a front row of Disappointed and then Spud P666 for Sunday night's race. And before we quickly wrap up, Brian, I just want to get your thoughts on, well, the last 2 nights in general and especially tonight's race.
Tonight was definitely a lot cleaner race than what last night's was. Still a bit of action out there, but it's going to bode well for Sunday night as the drivers in the series get more accustomed to running on the big oval.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you there. I might add as well, probably with the cars that have qualified, you'll probably find that, I'll say, the drivers are probably more accustomed to this sort of racing, know their way around the cars and what they can handle. They'll be in the main race, so you might find it just gets a bit cleaner once you get 14 top-notch drivers in the field together, rather than a split of, say, 7 and 7 or 10 and 4 that maybe don't quite handle it as well and cause the caution. So I imagine that Sunday night's race will be a bit more of a cleaner affair than maybe these two qualifying races.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a race that you really do not want to miss. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fast. These cars are doing over 200 miles an hour all the way around the speedway, not just in the straight lines, even in the corners. These cars are up over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's going to be fast-paced, action-packed, hopefully with relatively few cautions as well, so that we keep it moving along nice and fast and get it wrapped up in a decent time. So on behalf of myself, Jarman Dallitz, and Brian East, who's joined me in the commentary box tonight, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's action for the two qualifying races for the Daytona 500, and look forward to seeing you for the rest of the coverage over the weekend. Don't forget, we've got the TS3 Touring Car Series tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Well, it's actually 4 p.m. where racing starts, and then of course the TS2 Touring Cars as well at 6 p.m.
And that'll be brought to you by the front row for the 500.
Yes, that's a good point actually. Yeah, so we'll have those two bringing you the action. Well, I think for the TS2s I might be in charge of the TS3 action actually. And then of course Sunday night we'll have the Daytona 500 for you. So thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you then.